Hello YouTube! Once again, this is Colin, and as you can see, I guess it's no surprise by the title of this video or the fact that I just held up that book for the past 2 minutes. This is a response, a book review of Robert Spencer's book entitled The Politically Incorrect Guide to Islam and the Crusades. I really swore off reading this book. For the longest time, I really didn't want to read anything that had to do with Robert Spencer. I guess my bias because I don't share his political views, and I frankly don't share his views on theology. So I just, since this book came out, I just chose not to read it. Until now. I figured that now that I've studied enough theology for the past year and a half, I'm decided to actually maybe broaden my horizons and actually read someone's book that I might not agree with, and maybe I'll actually learn something from his book. One thing that I've learned, which is a common saying amongst people who, you could call them liberals, you could call them just, theologians in my opinion, I've heard them use sayings such as people who hate Islam and people who are the extremists in Islam both draw from the same pool of information. Meaning that they both, the haters take things out of context, and so do the extremists. They take things out of context as well. And that's not my point of this video. I know people who hate Islam hate it when people say, oh, why should we read things in the context and things of that nature? That's not really my point. Instead, I took notes on Robert Spencer's book. And I took so many notes that this is going to be a series of videos. Why am I doing this? Why am I spending time on Robert Spencer? Well, frankly, because what disturbs me is that his book is a New York Times bestseller, which, that obviously doesn't mean that much in the literary world. Most books, if a lot of people buy them, whether the people who read it actually like it or not, it can be a New York Times bestseller. But that's not really what I'm doing this because I started reading his book in an unbiased way, like I do with all religions or books about religion. And I came to the very sad conclusion that this literally, debunking this book, is about as easy as shooting fishes in a barrel. One thing that Mr. Spencer does is every time he quotes an Islamic source or any source in particular, he puts the little number next to the sentence, and then in the back of the book he has a laundry list of his source material. And in his book he recommends that people should read the Quran for themselves. And this book right here, The Life of Muhammad, by this particular author right here, and I own this book. Now, I don't mean to insult people who read in this country, but frankly in the United States, I'm willing to bet that when most readers read Robert Spencer's book, the average reader, I'll repeat that, the average reader doesn't even know probably what that little number means next to the sentences. Little also does he know that he should even bother to go back into the source list that it stems from. Also, I really doubt that most people are actually going to spend their time, money, and energy reading books that Robert Spencer obviously did the right homework for, and obviously is being faithful to what the information actually says. So why the hell should you think for yourself? Why should you read for yourself? Take his word for it. However, I don't settle for that. I don't trust everybody I hear or read. I don't care if they're a liberal, conservative, moderate, Muslim, Christian, Jew. You're going to write a book, I'm going to look at your sources, and I'm going to read those sources. And thank God I actually own this book. But this book's going to come in handy for this first part of this video, which actually might be the second video now that I'm seem to be running out of time now. But the fact of the matter is that you should read the sources they're using, and you should read the context for what they are reading. And with that in mind, I did that. And this is why I say that this book was so easy to debunk. It was like shooting fishes in a barrel. Because when I read what the source he was using, I saw how much he was lying. And I'll tell you, I'm actually ashamed that it was that easy. But anyway, I'm going to make part 2 of this. I'm going to delve right into chapter 1, So if you're interested and I've enticed you to go on to part 2 of this, then please continue on. And we'll jump right into it. Thank you very much. See you in part 2.